Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to start with the male reproductive system. We're going to see all the organs and we're going to see the mission of every organ. You did an activity, an introduction activity on our last lesson, but I just wanted you to be familiar with it. Today is the day in which we're going to see every part and every function. Well, in order to start with all this trip, we're going to start with the gonad, so the place in which the gametes, remember, were formed. In this case, the male gonad is the testicle or testis. Sperm cells, millions of sperm cells are going to be produced there every day. And after being produced, they go to this part of the testicle that is the epididymis. The mission of this epididymis is the place in which the sperm cells are going to mature. So they are produced inside the testicles and they travel there, they mature there, and once they are mature, they are ready to start their trip outside of the male body. There's an important part here, which is the scrotum. The scrotum is just a layer of skin, but it has a very important mission in this production of sperm cells. Because in order to produce sperm cells that are useful, that are alive, and that are active enough, this testicle needs a special temperature. So the mission of this skin organ, the definition of this part of the body, is just a bag that is going to maintain the testicle in the right position. Because if the testicle is too close to your body, then it's going to have a temperature that is your body temperature, 36.5. That is too much for sperm cells and they could have defects. So you need this testicle to be a little bit far away. That's why whenever it's very cold, the mission of this scrotum, when it's very cold, is going to contract and it's going to push the testicle towards the abdomen because it wants to maintain your sperm cells in the right temperature. But when it's very hot, this skin is going to dilate, so it's going to maintain the testicles far away from this hot body temperature. So as you see, we are starting seeing that everything in this system, as it happens in every organ system, everything works in order to ensure the mission of this system. In this case, the mission is reproduction. So epididymis, where the testicles mature, and then we're going to start this trip, and this trip goes on all along these tubes, and I say it in plural because obviously if there's two testicles, it's going to be two tubes, okay? Vas deferens. The mission of those vas deferens is to connect the epididymis with the urethra, because remember, urethra was the tube that is all along the penis and it's going to send the semen out of the body. So we've got this vas deferens that goes above this, that is the urinary bladder. So this muscle there is the urinary bladder. It goes a little bit higher and then it goes down again. And there is where the two tubes, two vas deferens, this would be the left one, but the right one is on the other side, and they both join more or less there. Okay, and then both of them, when they join, they will send their sperm cells. Remember, it's only sperm cells moving along these vas deferens, but these sperm cells will receive a liquid. Who is going to give them the liquid? This gland, that gland, and another one that is located there, but it's not in this picture. Those three glands are going to give some liquid. So what we've got here in the urethra is not only sperm cells, but it's semen with the liquid. But let's go back to our trip. Vas deferens, only sperm cells, one side, the other side, they join more or less there, and here they receive the liquid from the seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicle is going to produce a fluid that has two very important missions. The first one is going to transport those sperm cells. Sperm cells swim, but if you want to swim, you need a liquid to swim in. So it's going to be a liquid, but it's not just water in the liquid. It's a liquid that contains a lot of substances. Among those substances, there are some sugars that are going to feed the sperm cells so they can survive a little bit long in the female body. They are also going to have some substances that are going to prevent those sperm cells from dying, both in the male urethra or in the female vagina. So it's going to have a protection. And it also contains some proteins that are going to activate the contractions in the female body in case this semen arrives in the female body. So it's going to push these sperm cells upwards because they need to go against gravity. So loads of components that are going to be very useful in this function of fertilizing the ovule. And it's not only produced, this semen is not only produced in the seminal vesicles, two seminal vesicles, one on each side, but it's also produced in the prostate. The prostate, apart from producing the liquid, that it also controls the acidity of the vagina. This prostate has an important function that is pumping this liquid, so push and send it out, which is something quite important as well, in order to ensure that it gets close enough to the ovule in the female body. So we've got these two glands, and then we've got the Cowper's glands, the Cowper gland that we'll see later, that also works in this production of the semen. Okay, so all this would be the reproductive system, the testicles with the epididymis, the vas deferens, then the vesicles, and then they are connected to this single urethra, only one single urethra that is going to receive, remember, the secretions of the urinary bladder. Remember, the urinary bladder had two ureters. This would be the place where one of these ureters coming from the kidneys was arriving, and then the other one on the other side. But this urine goes out through the penis. Depending on the position of the penis, when there is an erection, it's going to send out semen coming from the prostate. Okay, the penis as well has a very important part, that is all these cavities that are going to ensure the erection when they are filled with blood. And we don't have here in this picture the foreskin. The foreskin is the skin that is protecting this penis. That would be the glans, which is the part that we could see here, but this would be covered by a skin, the foreskin. So those are all the important parts in the male reproductive system. Mission of the penis, of course, because we've got internal fertilization as mammals, is the organ for copulation. Well, this is the picture that we've already seen, and we've got the same picture but in a frontal view. This one is important because in this view you can see, apart from these seminal vesicles, remember, both of them secreting the semen, and the prostate, you're going to see the tiny Cowper's glands that we've got there, and they are going to produce part of this semen as well. And I quite like this picture as well, because you've got this testicle in a similar structure as the one that we see previously, but this one is like the testicle being cut on half. So you can see all these tiny tubes. One of them, you've got it here. These are the seminiferous tubules in which millions of sperm cells are produced. Sperm cells are produced in these blue walls, where of course they are not blue, but we've got them represented in blue here, and they will formed by divisions, and once they are formed, they move up to the epididymis, and they will wait there until the next ejaculation. They wait there. And you also have here all the cavities in the penis, that when the penis is relaxed, they are empty, but when the boy is excited, this will all be filled with blood, and it will cause the erection. This is another testicle with all these tiny seminiferous tubules where the sperm cells are produced, and these are the connections to the epididymis, waiting for this ejaculation that will send them through the vas deferens. Only sperm cells there. They will become semen later. And we've got here again another tubule, but you've got there the process that the picture that represents the process of formation of those sperm cells. As you can see there, we've got cells that we've got in purple there, cells with 46 chromosomes, somatic cells in the testicle. This is part of the testicle. And what's going on along this tubule? That these cells are dividing. They're going to do a process, remember, known as meiosis. We've got meiosis here, meiotic division. In this meiosis, this cell with 46 chromosomes will turn into a cell that only has 23 chromosomes, and you can see represented there that every chromosome has 2 arms. Then another division, the second division in meiosis, is going to form cells that only have 1 chromatid, 1 arm. So they will have half of the information than they had at the beginning. These are haploid cells with only 23 chromosomes, mature sperm cells that will go to the epididymis. So we've got this cell in the testicle forming, so growing up and forming an spermatogonium. This spermatogonium will form the spermatocyte, and then the spermatocyte will form spermatids that when they mature, they form sperm cells. So all that process is happening in these walls of the seminiferous tubules, okay? So important stages, 8 stages: spermatogonium, spermatocyte, spermatids, and mature sperm. You've got all that in your book. And then we've got as well this picture of the general structure of a sperm cell. Important parts in the sperm cell. Well, the one that everyone knows, that is the flagellum. The mission of this flagellum is to move very fast in order to allow this sperm cell swim. But remember, you can only swim if you've got a liquid in which you want to swim. And if you want to move this flagellum very quickly, in the same way as you would move a rope very quickly, you need a lot of energy at the beginning of the tail. That's why we've got a lot of mitochondria there. All that is representing mitochondria in this middle piece, because mitochondria were those organelles that give energy to the cell. Of course, the DNA there, 23 chromosomes, DNA is inside the nucleus. This is a eukaryotic cell. And then we've got the acrosome. The acrosome is also an important part in the sperm cell because it contains proteins that are going to tell the ovule that will receive this sperm cell, hey, I'm a human sperm cell. May I get in? Because a human egg is only going to allow a human sperm cell to get in. So you need an ID that tells the ovule that you come from a human. That's the acrosome, the structure that contains the proteins that tell the ovule that you belong to a human being.